Hello, my name is Nikita,
And my name's Caitlin.
and we are both students at Camborne Science and International Academy Sixth Form. We live in Cornwall, which is a county in the southwest of England. Cornwall is known as a tourist destination due to its beaches and rural surroundings. Cornwall relies heavily on tourism in its economy, making up 70% of the annual cash flow. Cornwall has been affected by coronavirus in many ways, but particularly financially.
The Cornish economy has lost out significantly due to many people's income heavily relying on tourism. This caused £630 million lost in tourism due to lockdown. 29,000 jobs were lost in the tourism industry due to COVID-19 in Cornwall, which resulted in a large increase in poverty. However, what is it like for the rest of the country? Poverty is defined by the World Bank as living on less than $1.90 a day. It has been predicted that between 88 to 115 million people will be in poverty by the end of 2020 due to COVID-19. This is an increase of 8.1% from the previous year. In the UK, due to lockdown, an estimated 7 million households, a quarter of all households in the UK, had lost either a substantial part of all their earned income as a consequence of the COVID-19 crisis. Overall, the pandemic will push between 88 million and 115 million people into extreme poverty by the end of 2020. Extreme poverty rates are expected to double by Christmas, and the amount of people using food banks this year has increased by 61%.
People in the UK have received some help through these tough times in many different ways. For example, the government wrote off over £13 billion to pay off the NHS's debt as a part of a major financial reset for the NHS providers due to the strain the coronavirus has caused upon the free healthcare system. In addition to this, the government set up payment help with bills, council tax, and grants for businesses affected by lockdown, for businesses over 2 years old. However, this didn't help new businesses, which caused major issues for many families' income. The grant is £1,500 every 3 weeks for average businesses and £1,000 every smaller businesses, which in some cases is only enough for rent coverage. In addition to the government, phone providers such as Tesco Mobile gave away free credit during lockdown so that families can still communicate, and companies such as Shelter England housed the homeless during lockdown.
Food banks were a vital part in ensuring that families were able to eat. They worked by the public donating non-perishable and in-date food, which is then distributed by charities around the country and then is available for anybody who needs to use it. The Trussell Fund is one of the largest food bank charities of the UK, and they are constantly getting vital food to places that need the extra support for feeding their families. The charity are constantly issuing guidance on food whilst maintaining the government guidelines. In 2020, more than 1.9 million people have relied on the food bank, so far just over 300,000 more than 2019.
In addition to this help, the government launched economic schemes such as the furlough scheme. The furlough scheme was issued by the government at the very beginning of lockdown in the UK. The furlough scheme allowed people that could not work from home or at their usual workplace to be entitled to 80% of their wages. This meant that people were still having an accessible income. As lockdown started to begin to ease, the government issued a flexible furlough scheme that allowed people to go back into furlough if it was necessary or to cover hours they were not able to do at their workplace. From this, the government created a job retention scheme, which allows businesses to claim the government to cover wages whilst the employees are on furlough. In addition to this, an Eat Out to Help Out scheme was created for registered restaurants to hold a 50% discount throughout the week to encourage more people to eat out, which was covered by the government.
In total, 650,000 jobs have been lost or put at risk from the coronavirus, making this the highest rate of unemployment in the UK history, many of which were at the start of the lockdown period. Smaller companies in the hospitality industry were heavily impacted due to the closing of pubs, restaurants, and hotels and tourism stopping due to COVID-19 and lockdown. Smaller companies had to close as tourists were not buying their products.
Due to the sheer amount of job loss across the UK and the closure of schools, children and low-income families were more at risk than ever of not getting meals. To help families with children, Money became available for low-income households from schools and the government. Families that were earning under a certain income automatically became eligible. The government produced vouchers called Android vouchers, which enabled families to buy groceries at all of the main supermarkets by giving them £80 a month for food. By June, £150 million were used up by these vouchers, allowing families each week to buy food and meals, when they previously would have been relying on free school meals. However, these vouchers were often abused by parents, as they used the vouchers for items such as alcohol or cigarettes instead, proving the true importance of free school meals and how they are vital for many children in the UK to have food. An additional scheme was the food parcel scheme, where food banks delivered meals/parcels to schools, and the students entitled would be able to collect this package. A positive of this is that students would definitely have access to food. However, the selection was sparse and not all compatible with everyone's food requirements, as it was mostly donated items. Furthermore, many families would have been unable to collect these parcels due to vulnerable family members or lack of transport availability. In some cases, these parcels were delivered to the doors of students. However, this was not available for everyone.
The coronavirus has ultimately heavily impacted the UK, socially and economically. Without the help from the government, the UK would have been in a much higher level of poverty. However, all schemes issued by the government could not help a small minority as much as it should have done, and were ultimately not always successful. Children all over the country had accessibility when it came to having a meal each day, and allowed their parents to claim a wage to pay their bills and to support their lifestyles. Job losses were substantial, pushing the UK unemployment rate to surge and tension on the UK and its citizens to influx. As lockdown eased and people were beginning to be able to get back to work, and with schemes such as Eat Out to Help Out, it massively helped the UK to start rebuilding the economy and to begin to become normal and more financially able to help those that were massively impacted by COVID-19.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to us in our discussion about poverty in our country, in the UK, and the support that is available for citizens such as us. So, goodbye.
Bye.